Welcome to the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. Brought to you by Blue Sky Business Consulting. We discuss 5 questions in about 15 minutes. Welcome again to the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. We're excited that you've chosen to join us, and I'm also very excited to welcome our guest today. This is James Warren, and he is the founder and CEO of Share More Stories, located in Richmond, Virginia. So back in the East, and I'm here in the, kind of the West. I'm in Utah. But anyway, James, thank you so much for taking time to join me on the podcast today. Tell us a little bit more about Share More Stories.
Thank you so much, Sean, for having me. I'm really excited for our conversation. Share More Stories is kind of what you hear in the name, right? We focus a lot on storytelling, but we also use technology to really help our clients understand the experiences of their teams, their customers, and their community stakeholders. And we do that through people sharing stories. We really focus on leaders of companies and organizations who want to listen and who want to understand those experiences so they can build stronger teams, stronger brands, and contribute to their communities in a better way. So yeah, that's what we do at Share More Stories. It's all about helping them increase their impact by understanding what those experiences are.
Oh, that's great. I love that. Well, good. I'm glad there's people out there doing what you're doing. So that's very important work. So anything to help build up the teams and help the leaders build those teams. That's what we're looking for here. That's great.
Exactly right.
All right. Well, James, let's get started with our questions. Our first one, sometimes teams will fall into a little bit of a lull or the energy level will drop a little bit. What are some ideas you have on how leaders can infuse energy into their team?
Yeah, I've got a serious and a not so serious answer to this. On the more intentional side, I think part of it is you have to know your own style and you have to know your team's style. So you can figure out like what am I aligning on? If I'm a high energy person and they're high energy, that should be pretty straightforward. But if they're not, I've got to figure out how to adjust my style a little bit. So knowing myself and knowing my team is the first thing. But one of the things that I really focus on is, we get a lot of our energy from achieving goals. And so I really try to help the team stay focused on where we are towards the goal. And that means, hey, if the goal is a bit of a way off in the distance, we really celebrate milestones. We really talk about progress. Progress is a big part of our culture building. It's a big part of what we do with our customers. So we keep that, we eat our own cooking. We talk about where we are on the journey. We talk about the progress we're making. And people get motivated by that. I do a lot of that, and it's not so much rah-rah cheerleading. Sometimes it is. But oftentimes it's really using our stories about what people on the team are doing, how they're doing it, how they're achieving success, how they're moving us towards the goal. And that really keeps people not only focused, but engaged. The more silly side, I guess, is I love dad jokes. So I keep a couple of dad joke subscriptions on Instagram at the ready, a couple of websites in my saved links, because anytime when people are taking themselves a little too seriously, or I'm taking myself a little too seriously, it's time for a dad joke. And I love the groans, like, oh my God, but that's how it's working, because when they're groaning and they're smiling and they're like, okay, please no more. We've lightened the mood, we've broken the tension, and we've gotten them, a little chuckle goes a long way.
It does. Laughter is indeed the best medicine. I love that approach. Just have a little joke or two handy, a little dad joke, something simple and innocent. I love that. That's awesome. Yep. All right. Question number 2. How can leaders promote learning within their company?
I think it's a great question. When I think about the process of learning, I think it involves, being exposed to something. It depends on people's curiosity. It depends on us providing them opportunities to sort of put that curiosity to use. And it involves sharing. And so for us, a lot of the work we do, we're generally delivering solutions to clients that are new to them. And often it's new to our team. And so the work is shared. We're a highly collaborative team. And I find that when you're building new things or doing new things or things that just don't have a ton of this is the accumulated knowledge of how we do it, and we just have to train you on it, you're kind of learning a little bit of it together. And so creating that collaboration-based approach has worked wonders for our team. But even when I led large organizations in fully scaled companies, I had the same approach. Collaboration to me was the pathway to getting people interested in learning, engaged in learning, and really it's a way where we're constantly learning so we could work through, did we get it right? Or do we still need to course correct? It feels less classroom informal and more iterative and ongoing. So for us, collaboration really is the learning mode. And most of my team today, we learn by doing. Even the most seasoned folks among us, since we're doing new things, we learn it by doing. And so we create an environment where doing is the thing that we're focused on.
Like that. I think that's a new perspective on promoting learning, which is to invite collaboration. I loved what you said a little bit ago about it includes sharing. And that's where the collaboration is. When you learn something, you've got to be able to share it, or it's kind of a hollow thing that you've learned, or a statistic almost that you've just kind of memorized. But by being able to collaborate and use the information that you've gained or the experience or whatever it is, wow, what a powerful way to learn and promote learning. Love that.
That's right.
All right. Question number 3. What's one tip that you have for effective delegation?
Hmm. This is a good one. I mean, with folks who maybe I'm the leader on the team, but my peers have a lot of experience and expertise in their own roles. We built a rapport and a relationship that we really know how to stay in our own lanes. Even if I'm technically, at the CEO role, it doesn't matter on a team of sort of equals. But when we have folks who are younger in their career, newer in their career, and they don't necessarily have the experience, one of the things I really focus on is how do I provide really clear guidance up front, give them a chance to almost practice or role play or run through their approach with me. And then when it's time for them to do it, which usually involves communicating something to either the other part of the team or to the customer, I say, do it and do not CC me. And so the reason why I don't want to be CC'd is because I will have an opinion. And if you CC me, I'm positive, either verbally, even if I'm like sitting on my hands, you'll feel the weight of my opinion and you won't really feel like it's your own. And so for me, the best thing I can do to help my team members who are less experienced know what it's like to actually be accountable for their own tasks and their own work and feel the joy of doing that. And sometimes feel the challenge of that is to say, when it moves from us designing it together to you doing it, take me out of the communication loop. Not because I'm not going to support you. I'm absolutely going to support you, but I need to be a degree or two removed because otherwise, you'll have me in the kitchen and you don't need me in the kitchen. You're going to make the dish and I'll taste it and I'll tell you what, if it's good or not.
Oh yeah, I love that. And I love that. It's a challenge to say the least. I think that's probably the biggest thing that I've run into, both personally as well as talking with other leaders, is how do you know when to kind of let go and not? And there is no perfect solution, but I love your approach to just kind of say, look, when you feel like you've got it, kind of cut me out of the loop there. And not because I don't support you. I love that. It's good. And I think you have a really effective way of helping them feel your support without them feeling the weight of your support.
That's beautifully said.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, I got it from you, so I have to give you the credit. I just rephrased it slightly because I like what you said, and that's kind of how I interpreted it. Is that yeah, we don't, as leaders, we don't want to be a weight on the people that we lead, but we do want to feel like, hey, if you need some help, if you need something, come talk to me. That's what I'm here for. But oh, I love that. Love that. All right. Question number 4. How do you effectively communicate your purpose, vision, and values and some of those things to your team?
you know, we've all heard the expression, it starts with why. And I'm a big, big, big believer in that. A lot of the work we do is helping organizations and leaders articulate the why of people's experiences. And so we talk about why a lot. It's a conversation topic that allows people to think more deeply about what we do, why we're here, why we're doing it. And I learned a long time ago that vision, yes, if you're the leader or the founder or you're the initiator of a thing, you do have the obligation to articulate what I would call the draft vision, the vision frame, the sketch. Because the minute you bring other people into it, the vision gets bigger. It took me a long time to learn that, but I did learn it. And ever since then, I started making visioning a much more collaborative exercise. And so, yes, it is my job to articulate, hey, I think this is where we're going, but I want to stop there and I want to see what you think. We just did this exercise recently where, I'd asked each member of the team to fill in. We just put together a simple Google sheet and said, why do you think we're here? What do you think we do? How do you think we add value? And why do you like working here? And I wanted it to be a collaborative effort. So We all put our responses into the Google Sheet together. One of my teammates was like, let's give everybody their own tab so they don't get biased by each other's answers. But what was beautiful about that is when you were done, you could see the summary of all of these deep, and there was so much alignment. Yeah, the words were different here and there, but I wanted to engage them in the conversation around as we move to the next chapter. This shouldn't be me or our leadership team telling you where we're going. This should be us really feeling like we're all on the same page, going in the same place together.
I really like that. That's a great approach. And I think that allowing them to feed into it a little bit, and I think that's a great exercise, by the way, to kind of leave it a little bit open-ended and see how close everybody is, because that's part of the reason why I ask the question is because I'm sure you do too, James, but I see a lot of folks that think that like we're talking about the leaders now, they think that they've communicated it effectively, but in the receiver's mind, the listener's mind, in this case, the team members' minds,
Yes.
they're interpreting it differently and it plays out differently. And that's why it's so important to get everybody on the same page with that. So I love that exercise about just a simple Google Sheet, different tabs, whatever it takes, and let them fill it in. And you use the word alignment, which I think is beautiful because that's exactly what it needs to be. Everybody's got to be at least pretty close and being able to kind of have that alignment. So that's awesome.
Right.
Love it. All right. Favorite question. I love all the leadership questions, but it is a fun way to end the episode each time. I'm always looking forward to hearing a baseball story. So James, share with me a favorite baseball memory that you have.
It's a great question. So when I was really little, I wasn't necessarily a baseball fan, not for any particular reason, just wasn't. I grew up in New York and, you had the Mets and you had the Yankees, and maybe that forced me to be split. But I think starting in the 90s was when I became a Yankees fan, and I've been a Yankees fan ever since. They've made it hard over a lot of periods over these past few decades, and they're proof that just because you have a great budget doesn't mean you're going to win. So,
True.
but that said, let's go back maybe even 10 years before that. So late 80s. My sister was older by a year and change, and she was a Mets fan, and we were living in Brooklyn at the time, and this was during the '86 season. All I remember is when the Mets won the World Series, my sister was like, let's go outside. Of course, it's nighttime, and we go outside, and classic New York scene, people are standing on the top steps of their stoops or windows open shouting, the Mets win, the Mets win. And I'll never forget that feeling, because even though, I soon switched allegiances, I did feel like that was a quintessential New York moment for me. And it was a really, really cool moment with my sister. And she stayed a Mets fan for a much longer time than I did. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
That's a great story. I love that. It's fun to hear stories of fans when their team wins the big one, the Super Bowl, or in this case, the World Series, whatever it is, what they were doing, where they were at, who they were interacting with. And I can only imagine, because I'm a Phillies fan, and most of the audience knows that, but I didn't grow up even close to the East Coast. I grew up in Oregon, and I'll tell the story of how I became a Phillies fan a different day. But the point is, when the Phillies won back in '08, I was celebrating all by myself because I didn't know any other Phillies fans here in the area. So I can only imagine what it'd be like to be with your neighbors and shouting from the rooftops or whatever else it was. I love that story. That's a great story.
It was cool. It was a lot of fun.
Nice. Well, thank you for sharing. And James, thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedule to join me on the podcast. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate your insights. How can people get a hold of you?
Well, you can learn more about our company at sharemorestories.com. And then I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn. So you can find me on LinkedIn, James Warren, but my handle is James-Warren-SEEQ, SEEQ. That's the easiest way to find me on LinkedIn. And I love to chat there.
Fantastic. Well, thanks again. And thanks to all of you who are joining us every week to either listen or watch to the podcast. We really appreciate your support. We wish everybody a great day and stay safe. Have fun. Have a good day. This is Sean Richards with the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. For more ideas, go to teamengagementpodcast.com. We also invite you to follow or subscribe to our podcast wherever you may be listening or watching. Is your business thriving? Go to tbs-score.com to find out. Thanks for joining us today. Have a great day.